Have you ever gone to a networking event and you looked down and wished you would have dressed a little nicer? Or you went to extend your hand and you kind of missed and it came across as this wimpy, limp handshake and you just wish you could do it all over again? I know I have. Today, let's talk about how you can make a fascinating first impression when prospecting. Now, according to Business Insiders, you only have 7 seconds to make a good first impression, and you have less than that when sending an email or making a cold call. Hi, I'm Christine Harrington, the Savvy Sales Lady, your personal YouTube sales coach. And right after this, you're going to learn 4 ways to be fascinating when making first impressions. Whether you're prospecting in a sales meeting or a networking meeting, these 4 tips will help you to be fascinating. Step 1, greet and leave the person uplifted by your presence. Recently, when I was shadowing a sales rep that I'm coaching, that guy was so anxious about getting it right that he couldn't relax and he didn't smile during the whole sales meeting. And it's important to walk into a sales meeting or a networking event relaxed and smiling. Make sure you give a good, firm handshake and you maintain good eye contact. Now, I don't mean be creepy about it, but appropriate eye contact. And before you go into each meeting, whether it's a sales meeting, picking up the phone for a prospecting call, or before you go into a networking meeting, pause and think about what impression do you want to convey and what impression do you want to leave. Now, when I say leave the person uplifted by your presence, I don't mean be a jokester. I'm not a fan of telling jokes during a keynote speech, during a sales meeting, during a networking event. I'm not saying don't be humorous, but don't be cute by telling a joke. You never know who you're going to offend. I just don't think it's appropriate in a business situation. But you can display charisma. And charisma is compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. People with charisma stand out. And you can be charismatic too. You're not born with charisma, you develop it. And that's a subject for another video. Step 2 is trust. When the person feels uplifted by your presence, this leads to rapport. And rapport builds trust. Now, they will judge whether they can trust you or not. And in order to move forward, they need to know they can trust your motives. And once trust begins, then you can move to the next step, which is respect. Step 3 is respect. Now, respect can begin in the first impression. And of course, respect develops over time. How? Well, when you first meet someone, you treat them with respect. You ask appropriate questions of the other person. You may even suggest to introduce them to someone you know that they may have commonalities in the business world. Just always be sincere and authentic. I don't believe in giving compliments unless it can really come across as a unique compliment that he hasn't gotten from everyone else. Number 4 is show interest. It's so important that you show interest in the other person. It can't always be about you. Let the other person talk. And don't talk about yourself unless the other person asks you questions about yourself. You be the one to be asking him or her the compelling questions. Now, another part of this is sequencing. It's very important when making a fascinating first impression that you use the sequence that I just outlined for you, because being fascinating is all about the other person. It's being warm, open, sincere, and an excellent listener. You'll be surprised how quickly you can be compelling, as well as asking compelling questions. It takes practice, it takes self-awareness, and it takes being genuinely interested in the other person. The next time you find yourself at a networking meeting or you're meeting a prospect for the first time, remember this order of sequence, and they'll find you fascinating at making a good first impression. Now I'd like to ask you, have you met anyone fascinating, or is there someone fascinating you'd love to meet? Let me tell you who I think is fascinating and I would love to meet, and that's Dolly Parton. That may surprise you, but I do think she's a fascinating businesswoman. With all of her gaudy hair and makeup and long nails, she comes across as warm, sincere, authentic, and that she really cares about her fans and her music. If you've ever read any of Dolly's books, you're just drawn in to her quirky sense of humor and her down-to-earth personality. And that's why Dolly Parton, in my opinion, is fascinating. Now, one last thing. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd like to invite you to do so, and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll be reminded every time I upload a video. I do these videos in hope that it accelerates you on your journey of sales. And remember, sales is a journey. It's not a quick trip around the block. See you on the next video.
So stand up, you can conquer any mountain if you don't stop reaching for the stars.